على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. First, I congratulate you for the birth anniversary of Lady Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who brought joy to the heart of Prophet and Lady Khadija with this birth, to bring joy to the heart of Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, by giving him permission for his Faraj and by making his Shia ready for preparing for his Faraj, inshallah. May Allah bless all our mothers and sisters and women, and inshallah let them be following the footsteps of Lady Fatima in dunya and enjoy her shafa inshallah in akhirah, and may Allah inshallah bless our families. This is our last session and we have many things to cover. But even if we don't manage to cover everything, I hope at least we have started this discussion, and we and other people who follow this online from now on would be more seriously thinking about the issue of followership, which we said it's actually very much the core of being Shia, because Shia means follower. Among the things that good followers should have, especially in the time of ghaiba, because in the time of ghaiba we have to work harder. It's not that in the time of ghaiba we work less and when Imam comes we work harder. We have to more work extra to fill gap to some extent, plus because Imam alayhi salam is not directly communicating to us, so we need to be doing our best to understand what he expects from us. So last week we talked about rationality and being able to understand and analyze things properly. Today I want to talk about something which is related to that, and that is hazm. Hazm, ha and za, means to be farsighted. It's very important for us to be farsighted. Not only we should be aware of our time, we should try also to foresee, at least to some extent, future. If you are not able to predict what would be the consequences of your actions or not acting, you cannot decide properly. So hazm is very important. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam said, A'qalun nas anwaruhum fil awaqib. The most intelligent people are those who look more at the ends of affairs, awaqib. So if Whatever you want to do, think about what is going to come, what is going to happen. Like if you want to make a move in, for example, playing chess, for example, you have to be able to anticipate what the other party may do. You have to always prepare. If we do this, and then the other people, either competitors, either, I don't know, other factors or enemies, whatever they do, we should be able to predict. In another hadith, Amir al-Mu'minin said, "Man tawarrata fil umur bighayr nazarin fil awaqib, faqad ta'arrada lin-nawa'ib." Whoever gets involved into affairs without thinking about awaqib, about end of the affairs, he or she would be subject to calamities. Sometimes we too much trust ourselves and feel confident and say, I don't need to think. I am sure whatever happens, I find a solution for it. And then you put yourself into trouble. Like a person who doesn't check his car before traveling long distances and said, whatever happens, we find a solution. But then in the middle of the road, the car is broken down and he has to suffer. In another hadith, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam said, "Al-dhafaru bil-hazm wal-jazm." Al-dhafaru, victory, depends on two things, among different things, but these are two important things that you need for success, for victory. One is hazm, to be farsighted, and one is jazm, to be able to make a firm decision and stand by your decision. If you keep changing your decisions, then you are not getting anywhere. Someone was talking to his friend about difficulty of quitting smoking. And he said, I don't know why people say it's difficult to quit smoking. I have so far 20 times quitted smoking. And it was not difficult. This type of decisions, yes, you can make many decisions like this, but it's not going to improve your condition. We need decisions which are firm, decisions that people and others, can trust and rely on you. In the past, it was common in our culture, I don't know in other parts of the world, but in Iran it was a common practice that when a man was making a promise, was giving also a piece of his, beard, removing a piece and giving. This means that if I don't keep my promise, I am not a man. My word is a matter of my honor and dignity. Pardon? Women take from the beard of their husband. Sheikh Qaraati said that there was a person who was praying in the months of Rajab, this dua, harram shaybati ala nar, that you hold your beard. And he didn't have beard, so he was holding the beard of someone sitting next to him. Actually, it seems that at least in this age, I don't know how it was in the past, that generally speaking, mashallah, sisters are more committed to their word than some men. It's not that you say men keep their promises and women no, but in the past, because women were not involved in the social life that much, so it was a man who was committing and promising and undertaking job, but everyone can be keeping promise. So it's very important to have hazm and jazm, not to say thing and keep changing. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam in another hadith said, Al-hazmu an-nazaru fil awaqib wa mushawaratu dhawil uqul. Hazm is to look at the end of affairs and to consult intelligent people. Consultation is very important, and for this reason, one of the things that I had put here in my list was the fact that a good follower is the one who seeks advice and consults other people. We have lots of advice about this. I only have selected 4 hadiths about mashwara. You should consult people even for your personal affairs. If you want to buy a house, if you want to marry, if you want to find a job, if you want to choose a subject for a study, it's very important to consult. But when it comes to community affairs, it becomes more important. Because this is the interest of not just one person. Even for one person you have to consult, but interest of many people, not even one generation. It can be many generations. So we have to consult. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam said, Al-istisharatu aynul hidayah wa qad khatara man istaghna bi ra'yih. Consulting is aynul hidayah. Aynul hidayah means is the eye of guidance, if ayn means eye, or it means the fountain of guidance, or it means it's the essence of guidance, because ayn has tens of meanings. But for sure it shows that there's a close connection between finding guidance and seeking advice. وَقَدْ خَاطَرَ مَنِ اسْتَغْنَى بِرَأْيِهِ. And whoever feels that his or her opinion is enough and sufficient, doesn't need to consult anyone, has taken risk. خَاطَرَ from khatar. It has endangered his or her interests. In another hadith, Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam says, إِنَّمَا حُضَّ عَلَى الْمُشَاوَرَةِ لأن رأي المشير صرف ورأي المستشير مشوب بالهوى. It's a very good psychological point. We are asked to consult. Even sometimes the people that we consult, maybe they don't know more than us. Maybe they are not more experienced than us. Maybe even sometimes they are less experienced than us. But still you have to consult. Why? One reason is mentioned here. Because when something is about us, we have some emotional engagement. Either this side or that side suits me, or it's more interesting to me, more enjoyable. So it's very difficult that you make objective assessment when you are a part of it. But the person that you are asking for his opinion or her opinion is neutral. You see, sometimes you can, for the same condition, offer advice to other people. But when it comes to yourself, you need to ask other people so that someone who is not biased, who is neutral, can look into this case and give you advice. So Amir al-Mu'minin says, لَأَنَّ الرَّعْيَ الْمُشِيرِ صِرْفٌ. The one who gives opinion, his opinion is sirf, means is pure, has no mixture. But وَرَعْيَ الْمُسْتَشِيرِ, but the one who is seeking advice, his opinion is mashubun bil hawa, is mixed with his desires and appetites and his lust. He wants to do something. Another hadith is from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. This is the last hadith on mashwara. I have selected just very few because time is very limited. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Inna al-mashwarah or Inna al-mashurah. In Arabic, sometimes we say mashura. La takunu illa bihududaha al-arba'ah. Counseling or consulting people cannot happen unless there are 4 conditions fulfilled. فأولها أن يكون الذي تشاوره عاقلا. The first condition is the person that you consult must be aqil. Who is aqil? We discussed last week. You have to find such people. Many times people don't do mashwara. And even if they do mashwara, they consult someone that just endorses their opinion. Yeah? For example, someone is unhappy with, for example, a person. Goes and consults someone who is again unhappy with that person. So for sure this person is not objective, is not neutral. Or sometimes people consult people that show lots of emotional support. For example, they feel sad, they consult people that also they feel sad or even cry for them, because they think this sympathy is very helpful. Sometimes people don't like to consult people who would tell them, you didn't need to worry this much, you were wrong. People don't like to consult such people. People like to consult people that whatever they say, yes, you were right, and that person was terrible. If I was in your place, I would have done, worse than what you have done. They like to hear such things. So this is not beneficial. You are just satisfying your anger. One condition is that person has to be aqil, intelligent. We gave characteristics of uqala last week. والثانية أن يكون حرا متدينا. That person should be hur, means free thinker, a noble person who goes by principles, and is mutadayyan, is religious. والثالث أن يكون صديقا مؤاخيا also must be someone who feels, sympathy towards you. He is your friend, and he has muwakhat, brotherhood or sisterhood for brothers, brotherhood for sisters. So someone who feels is close to you and is concerned for you. والرابعة, the fourth, أن تطلعه على سرك. You have to inform him about your secret. Of course, not every secret, but the secret of what you are taking advice from him. فيكون علمه به كعلمك ثم يسر ذلك ويكتمه. So you share with him everything that you know about that case, so that he knows what you know. Because if you give him part of the information, how can he give you right answer? Like you'd go to doctor, if the doctor all the symptoms, doctor cannot help you. A person also that you ask for mashwara, if possible, sometimes of course might not be possible, but if possible, or maybe you refer to someone that doesn't know you, so that you can tell the secret. Because sometimes if a person knows us and other people, we cannot tell everything. But someone who is not familiar with us, or maybe without introducing yourself, but that person needs to know everything that you know, so that can give you proper. But after that, yusirruhu, keeps it as sir, confidential. A person who keeps things confidential. So we need to be people who naturally love mashwara, especially when it comes to community affairs, when it comes to tabligh, when it comes to, working for Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, with the youths you want to work, with the families you want to work, with the, other groups. Mashwara is very important. No one, even if he's alim, if he's experienced, even if he's old, should think that I don't need mashwara. Even Allah says to Rasulullah, shawirhum fil amr. You have to consult. Actually, this is a way to ask Allah for guidance. Maybe Allah puts the right opinion on the tongue of the other person, as we have in some hadith. So mashwara is very important, and we should not be relying only on our own opinion. Another thing which is very important is fairness. Fairness is very, very important, and something which is, I can tell you, avoiding maybe 90%, if not more, of social problems. If you have just one quality, if you're fair. First, I read for you some hadith, then I analyze the concept of fairness. The first hadith is from Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. أنصف الناس من أنصف من نفسه من غير حاكم عليه. The fairest person is the one who treats people with fairness without having an authority on his head. Sometimes we are afraid of judge or court or police or manager, or for example a senior member of the community, and because of that we are fair. This is not good. What we need is that even if there is no one to watch you or to force you, you yourself decide to be fair. In another hadith, Amirul Mu'minin salam said, "Ala innahu man yunsifun nasa min nafsih, lam yazidhu Allah illa izza." The one who treats people with fairness, Allah would not add to him except in his honor and dignity. If you are fair, if you sometimes compromise and give priority to other people because you are fair, you are not going to lose your honor. You are going to get more honor and dignity. In another hadith, Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam said, "It is sufficient for a person to be intelligent if he is fair." So fairness is a sign of intelligence. And it is sufficient for fairness if he accepts the truth when it becomes clear. So fair is the one who accepts the truth. Amirul Mu'minin salam, in his instruction to Malik Ashtar, said, "Ansifillah wa ansifil nas min nafsika wa min khassati ahlika wa man laka fihi hawan min ra'iyyatik." Be fair in your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not fair with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, we have this beautiful idea in Hadith Qudsi that Allah says, "I treat each of you as if I don't have any other servant. But you treat me as if you have many, many other lords." He has billions of servants, just people. He has angels, he has other creatures. But just among human beings, at least he has billions of people. But he is available for every single person. He does not divide his attention to people. He does not divide his love to the number of people. He is there for every person wholeheartedly. But on the other hand, we have only one Lord. But we treat him as one in many. And even not the first. The first are other things, other people. If we are good, the last one. Na'udhu billah. If we do other things and then, salat is becoming qaza, or, we delay hajj till we are, dying, or, everything we delay, and at the end, we may do it. But this is not fair. So, fairness in your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fairness with respect to people. Min nafsik, about yourself and people, be fair. I will inshallah now explain just after a minute what is fairness. And with respect to people who are close to you. Sometimes I have, for example, friends, I have allies, I have assistants that I love them. If they have an issue with someone, I take their side. Or my children. Many parents, if their children fight, they take the side of their children. Yeah? They don't bother to understand what's the truth, what is right. My child is right. Why? Because my child. This is the mentality of many parents. Even sometimes, children tell lies, and create troubles. So, if there is someone who is min khassati ahlik, is close to you, is from the select of people, for you, you should not lose fairness and take their side. Or man laka fihi hawa min ra'iyyatik, or any of your subjects that you have some special attention to them. For example, Malika Ashtar may have some guards, some security, or some rich people. As a governor, should not take their side when they have problem with other people. He should be fair. فَإِنَّكَ إِلَّا تَفْعَلْ تَظْلِمْ. If you don't exercise fairness, you do zulm, injustice. So what is fairness? Insaf comes from nusf. Nusf comes from nisf. Yeah, nisf means half. Imagine there is a rope between me and you. This rope between me and you should be 50% divided. But if because I am stronger, I take 60% of the rope towards me, or 70%, or sometimes 100%, this is not fair. Okay, this is a rope. Now take these two cases that you have with people. For example, you are two partners, and now there is a profit. This profit you want to divide. Do you want to take more to your side, or you are happy to give 50-50 if you have equal share? Two neighbors, are you happy to consider completely equality, or you want to take your side? Or if there is any issue, you put on his side. If there is a snow, you put in on his garage, or pathway. Sometimes people take taxi, of course, when there is sharing. Sometimes taxi takes one person, but sometimes people who go to the same route, they take taxi together. Sometimes people who sit in taxi first, so suppose 3 people should sit in the rear chair. The first person takes 50%. The second person takes 30-40%. The last one has to be squeezed and maybe just 10-15%. Or sometimes in bus, or where there are 2 seats, one person sits so comfortably that the other person has to be squeezed. Or sometimes if there is a woman has to be pushing herself to the side because this man is sitting relaxed. This is not fairness. So what is fairness? Fairness is that you treat people in the way that you love to be treated. Between you and them, you don't take your side. It's very difficult not to take your own side between you and people. Sometimes I use this example. I say, if you go to a court, you have a case with someone, you go to the court, and you realize that the judge is related to this person. For example, is his cousin. You don't accept this court. Yeah? You say, this is not fair. This is his cousin, his relative, or his friend. What about if you have case with someone who is judge and takes you to the court, and he is the judge This is worse. You say, how can this person be observing justice between me and himself? Okay? But the reality is that many times in our life, or most of the time in our life, when we have issues with people, we take them to the court of ourselves. And we judge about them. And they are always proved to be guilty. Because I am the judge. If I have problem with my wife or husband, or in-laws, or colleagues, to which court I take them? I take them to the court that I am the judge. So fairness means that you have so much worked on your objectivity and impartiality that whenever there is issue between you and someone, you can be objective and take not your side or side of your people or your family or your tribe or your group. This is fairness. And you can imagine it's very, very difficult. If someone is fair, I think he is thousands of miles away from hell. This Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, when he says that Allah would give him only izzah, this is not only in dunya. Izzah in dunya, izzah in akhirah. Or Imam Baqir alayhi salam in a hadith says, Allah has a special Jannah. And one of the people that enter that special Jannah, man hakama fi nafsihi bil haqq. The one who judges about himself truthfully. So insaf is very important. If we want to help, inshallah, Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, and be trying to establish universal justice, how can then we do zulm to other people in our judgment? How can an unjust person to his family, to his neighbors, to his colleagues, to his even enemies, how can an unjust person to anyone, even to an animal, help Imam in universal movement for justice? It's impossible. So we have to work on fairness. And a very important aspect of fairness is your relation with other followers and fairness in your relation with the leader. How much you expect from other followers, how much you expect from leader. You know, sometimes we expect too much from leadership. Sometimes we expect too much from other followers. So we have to be fair. Another thing that we need to observe is that a good follower is always trying to bring respect to the cause and to the leader and to the community. If you work for any organization, one of the first things that you have to observe is not to cause disgrace and dishonor to that organization, not to be a source of shame. A good follower has to be good in PR, in introducing, promoting, gaining respect and love of people. There are two beautiful hadiths from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. The first is a hadith that Imam alayhi salam said to a person called Abdul A'la. A'la is one of the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yeah? Al-A'la. Sabbih isma rabbikal A'la. He's the servant of A'la. Ya Abdul A'la. فَأَقْرِئْهُمُ السَّلَامُ وَرَحْمَةَ اللَّهِ. Say my salam to Shia and the mercy of Allah. You know, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So Imam Sadiq says, tell my Shia my salam wa rahmatullah. Wa qul, and tell them, qala lakum. Your Imam said this message for you. Rahimallahu abdan istajarra mawaddatan nas ila nafsihi wa ilayna. May Allah's mercy be upon the servant who brings love of people to himself and to us. Nas here means the general public, because the Shia were in minority. Yeah, so majority were Sunni. Maybe you are in a context that majority are non-Muslims. So the main thing is that when we are living with other people, we should try to bring love of people to ourselves and to our imams and to our mazhab, to our community. Then Imam gives the method. بأن يظهر لهم ما يعرفون ويكف عنهم ما ينكرون. One important aspect of this is to declare to people what they find to be acceptable. يعرفون means they find it ma'ruf, something that they appreciate. وَيَكُفَّ عَنْهُمْ, and don't say to them, don't share with them what يُنْكِرُونَ, they don't like, they don't appreciate. It is munkar for them. It's not munkar for us. It's not a matter of whatever is ma'ruf for us we share, and whatever is munkar for us we don't share. No. Even those things which are ma'ruf for us, which are good for us, some of them are ma'ruf for them, some of them are not ma'ruf. You only share what is ma'ruf for both of us. You remember we talked about confidentiality and how we should be careful about our secrets. This is very important. So, a good follower is not the one who is aggressive and harsh and attacks others. Sometimes people think these are very good followers because they are happy to fight for the cause. But we don't want someone to fight for us. We want someone who can convince people. We want someone who can bring respect of people. This is not a militant exercise. This is an exercise of intellect, exercise of heart and love and logic. So it's very important that we know how to present ourselves and how to present our mazhab. In another hadith, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Ma'ashara Shia. So he's addressing Shias in all places, all ages. Kunu lana zayna wa la takunu alayna shayna. Be a source of respect and honor and beauty for us, not a source of shame. قُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Tell people something which is good and beautiful. Say beautiful things to people. This is also Quran, قولوا للناس حسنا. واحفظوا ألسنتكم. Some people think, for example, Ahlul Bayt are very happy with the people who keep talking and saying everything. And they think they are very brave because they say everything. But this is not what Imam wants. He says, وَاحْفَظُوا أَلْسِنَتَكُمْ. Keep your tongues. Watch what you say. كفوها عن الفضول وقبيح القول. Stop saying what is excess and what is ugly. A Shia, it has to be most polite and most respectful person on the planet. How can we offend people? This is not the way our Imams. Our Imams were not offending people. We're not, swearing at people. Another thing which is very important is we should have deep sense of responsibility. Whenever there is a need, we should be ready, we should be available, we should volunteer. Some people are happy to help, but you have to ask them. Some people never help, even if you ask them. Even you ask them 10 times, they don't help. But there are people who are happy to help, but you have to ask them. Alhamdulillah, this is a progress, but the best is that if people volunteer, because maybe you have some talent, some skill, something you can do that people don't know. If you don't introduce yourself, or if you don't volunteer, then they don't know what you can do. Or maybe the other person is feeling embarrassed to ask you for help. So if we can do something, we should volunteer. And no community, even if they have unlimited financial resources, no community can prosper without volunteers. It's not a matter of saving money. Some people think we need volunteers to save money. No. All barakah is in volunteers. When people, for the sake of Allah, out of love, volunteer, there's so much barakah. All the prophets were volunteers. No prophet was, doing this as a job. All imams were volunteers. All maraja are volunteers. And sometimes people think if they volunteer, they don't need to be very careful. If they are paid, they have to be careful. Because, they say, I am paid for this. So this is my work, my job. But actually, whether you are paid or not, if you undertake a job, a responsibility, you have to deliver it perfectly. There is no difference between being volunteer or paid. When you undertake a responsibility, you must deliver it. And we need to promote this culture of volunteering. For, inshallah, preparation for coming of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, we should make this a very common practice that every Shia must be happy to volunteer part of his or her time. And don't say, instead I give you money. No, we need your time. Money is good. That's another issue. You can give your money if you have. But your participation is very important. You are millionaire, okay, but you have to be happy to clean the mosque. Or any other task that community needs. This is a best exercise for getting rid of your ego, your negative pride, but also to give energy. When people see everyone is on board, so much barakah comes, so much energy comes. As we say in Du'a Nudbah, هل من معين فأطيل معه العويل والبكاء. Is there any helper with whom I can cry longer? We don't say هل من معين فأبكي معه. Is there any helper with whom I cry? No. أطيل معه العويل. I can cry longer. If I do something alone, after some time I become tired. But if we do it together, each of us can work longer and harder. Plus, yadullah ma'al jama'ah. So if one person can do 1 hour, another person 1 hour, but when they work together, each of them does few hours, plus Allah blesses them. هل من جزوع فأساعد جزعه إذا خلا. Is there anyone lamenting for you that I help him when he is alone? Again, a matter of helping. But in the first you ask for helper, in the second you offer help. فأساعد, I help him when he is alone. Mu'mineen should not only meet each other in public places. In community, we meet hundreds of people, very good. And the more we meet, the better. But then, each group of them should have also family relations. You cannot say, Alhamdulillah, we meet each other in the mosque. Can you say to your father or mother, I see you only in the mosque? Mu'mineen should have also family relations إذا خلا, in private. هل قضيت عين فصاعدتها عيني على القضاء. Is any eye bruised and in pain because of crying for you, that my eye can help that eye by taking part of the pain? This is how much love should be between community members. Your eye is very important, yeah? You don't take risk about eye. You are happy to endanger your hand, which is the most important tool, but to protect your eye. But mu'min is happy to share the pain in the eye of another mu'min. Why? Because this pain is for crying for Imam. So when people are working for Imam, we should have no limit in helping them and supporting them. In the first sentence you say hal min mu'in, you ask for helper. But in the second and third you ask for someone to help. Sa'adatha ayni ala al-qadha usa'id means you are more happy to help than receiving help. So we must reach this level of unity. After this, then you can say hal ilayka yabna Ahmad sabilun fatulqa. After you establish this relation, then you can say, oh Imam, is there any path that I can take and come and meet you? Before that, there is no path. So, this is also very important, to have deep sense of responsibility, not to be lazy, to volunteer, to be able to resist against our temptations, these selfish desires, and to be very organized. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, as you know, says, أوصيكم بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. Taqwa is the best thing that we need. But it is interesting that Amirul Mu'mineen brings Nazm after Taqwa. Puts Nazm next to Taqwa. Because if we are not organized, many times we cannot fulfill requirements of Taqwa. We damage interest of people and our community. We damage our resources. We lose opportunities if we are not organized. We have to be organized. We have to be far-sighted. We have to plan. We have to do mashwara. We have to be thinking. We have to be analytical, but at the same time obedient and loyal and humble. This is the combination that if we have, then we can make sure that we would be successful and our Imam would be happy with us and we would leave a legacy of true followership behind. I stop here because tonight we want also to have some more time for your questions. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help all of us to improve, to be grateful for all the gifts that Allah has given us as individuals and community, and to be inshallah blessed with the pleasure of Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif.
Shaykhana, if you want to ask a question.
Yes. The question is easy, but the answer is not easy. What can we, the students of Hujjat Academy, do to apply followership in our community? Because there is no point in discussing what others have to do. We need to see what I can do, what me and you can do to apply this, to improve the condition with respect. Maybe 1 point, maybe 2 points, maybe more, whatever you think is the thing that you really can deliver that can improve the condition, please discuss and share.
Okay. I will inshallah do more announcements later on, but now comes the time for Tabarruk. And because it's an amazing day of Eid and celebration, as well as our last session, there is a heavier Tabarruk. Please do help yourselves. But today, because we want to maximize, can you please take your Tabarruk and come back to your groups? And inshallah, you can then have the discussion around this question at the same time. For the gents, I don't think that you have signed in because we didn't have a computer. Can you sign in now? Most of the ladies, I think almost everyone, have already been signed in by our volunteers. So if we can collect our Tabarruk, I'll give you all 3 minutes and then come back. We're going to then have discussion or you're going to speak in the groups for about 10 minutes only, and then we will have a summary and then Q&A. So please, thank you. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Well, as you are going out for your Tabarruk, I just